There's something refreshing about stumbling across a film you weren't actively looking for, and Splitsville is exactly that kind of pleasant surprise. Before this, I hadn't really been familiar with the comedy duo of Michelangelo Covino and Marvin, but their creative partnership immediately stands out here. Their previous collaboration, The Climb, released in 2019, earned a cult following for its raw, awkward, and deeply human comedy. And Splitsville very much feels like a spiritual cousin, just louder, messier, and far more unhinged. Premiering at the Cannes Film Festival May 19, 2025, Splitsville later rolled out into selected theatres, and while it not be the kind of film that aims to redefine the genre, it absolutely knows what it wants to be: fun, offbeat comedy that prioritizes entertainment over grand statements. And honestly, sometimes that's exactly what a film needs to do. The story centers on two couples whose long-standing friendship explodes into chaos after one couple begins the process of divorce. What complicates matters and fuels the comedy is the revelation that the other couple are in an open marriage. When Carrie, the divorcing husband, sleeps with the open marriage wife, namely Julie, played by Dakota Johnson, emotional boundaries collapse, loyalties fracture, and what follows is a spiraling chain of misunderstandings, confrontations, and deeply uncomfortable situations. It's a premise that sounds simple on paper, but Splitsville leans into the awkwardness with confidence. The film thrives on social discomfort, emotional overreactions, and characters who desperately want to be mature adults but fail at every possible turn. What really makes Splitsville works is its cast, and it's clear everyone involved is having a blast. Marvin, who also co-wrote the film, is absolutely superb here as Carrie. He fully commits to the role, channeling what feels like his inner Jim Carrey, both physically and emotionally. Carrey is a nice guy, the people pleaser, the guy who thinks he's enlightened and progressive until his own insecurities come roaring to the surface. Marvin isn't afraid to get naked, literally or emotionally, and his slapstick instincts are spot on. Whether it's physical comedy or full-blown emotional meltdowns, he sells every beat. Michelangelo Covino plays Paul with a quieter energy at first. He starts off restrained, almost passive, but gradually evolves into something far more volatile by the film's end. Covino's performance grows organically, and by the final act you realize just how carefully he's been collaborating with Paul's emotional arc. It genuinely feels like an extension of Covino himself, natural, lived in, and honest. Then of course there's Dakota Johnson, who continues to impress by choosing interesting character-driven roles. As Paul's wife, she brings a grounded presence to the film, balancing the chaos with emotional clarity. Johnson has been steadily growing as an actress, and this feels like some of her best work in a while. She understands the tone perfectly, never overplaying the comedy, but never flattening it either. Arjona is absolute standout here as Ashley. She's bubbly, erratic, emotional, and completely unpredictable, but in the best way. Arjona brings kinetic energy to the film that keeps scenes alive, and she clearly is having fun with the role. Ashley could have easily have become grating in lesser hands, but Arjona makes her endlessly watchable. There's also some fun supporting performances, including a quick cameo from Nicholas Braun, which adds an extra layer of charm for audiences paying attention. One of the things I appreciated about Splitsville is that it doesn't pretend to be more profound than it needs to be. It's not trying to deliver some grand thesis about modern relationships or moral superiority. Instead, it simply explores how messy friendship, love, and marriage can be when personal ideals collide with real emotions. Yes, some scenes are wildly over the top. Yes, characters behave irrationally, but that's the point. Life is often ridiculous, and Splitsville embraces that absurdity wholeheartedly. The film understands that entertainment has value in itself. Not every movie needs to be groundbreaking. Not every story needs to speak on multiple intellectual levels. Sometimes a film just needs to make you laugh and keep you engaged, and Splitsville does exactly that. Part of what makes the film so energetic is the commitment behind the camera as well. Covino and Marvin performed all their own stunts, adding to the raw physical authenticity of the comedy. And of course, who can forget that hilarious fight scene? The entire film was shot in an impressively tight 24-day schedule, which only adds to its scrappy indie charm. Russ's fish, owned by Simon Webster's character, are all named after popes. A small gag, but one that pays off beautifully when Carrie mentions a fish named Leo being brought from the city. Incidentally, or not, the film premiered on May 19th, just 11 days after Pope Leo XIV was elected on May 8th, making the joke feel almost eerily timely. One of the film's standout sequences, the lovers' montage in Ashley and Carrie's apartment, was shot practically as a single, continuous take, with actors changing clothes and positions off camera. It's a clever technical trick that adds fluidity and spontaneity to the scene. At its core, Splitsville is a film about people trying and failing to navigate love, honesty, and friendship without hurting one another. It's messy, loud, awkward, and often ridiculous, but also it's sincere. What really shines through is the sense that this is a deeply personal project for Covino and Marvin. They wrote it, they shaped it, they performed it with absolute commitment. The actors are clearly enjoying themselves. The comedy lands more often than not, and the film never overstays its welcome. Dakota Johnson delivers some of her strongest recent work. Arjona is a joy to watch, and the central duo prove their creative partnership is worth keeping an eye on. This isn't a film trying to change cinema, but it is a film trying to entertain, and it succeeds. Splitsville gets an 8.5 out of 10, and sometimes that's more than enough. So what did you think of Splitsville? Please let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.